they're raising the capital gains tax. Um, so essentially that if you're selling anything over a million, which if you're in real estate and you're owning a couple houses and you follow that, like the rich dad model or that monopoly model, right? 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. They're killing you on that because they want to get rid of the 1031. So you won't be able to roll that over into another property and delay your taxes. You're going to have to pay taxes regardless on that property. So it might cause people to not want to sell because now it's like, well, if I sell, I'm going to have a
Well,
huge
a lot
tax
of things I've
liability.
seen about this is like they're going away, but they're going away for people that make significant amount of money a year. Where the 1031 is going away if you make over $1 million in a year. That's when they take it away.
That's not that much.
And then that's when so that's where they always say they're not taxing people that make less than 400 grand. And that's where it's like a lot of this stuff kicks in, the higher capital gains rates, the long-term things where it's like if you're wealthy by over 400 grand up to like $1 million, so that's when all these tax advantages start disappearing.
But that's not that much because you look at people that are actual investors, they're the ones that are going to get hit. Hitting $1 million in real estate, it's not that much. It's not that hard to achieve if you're an investor.
Yeah.
This isn't going to affect your everyday person, your investor that maybe has 1 or 2 homes, but an investor that has 5 homes, they decide to sell those 5 homes, and especially with all the appreciation, roll them over.
Well, that's what Brian made the point is like that's why people need to understand these things. They're like you can't dump all your inventory in 1 year. If you go from making 200 grand a year,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you dump all your inventory and it bumps you to $1 million that year, like that's when you can get screwed.
Exactly.
It's like you need to understand these things to where like it's going to make the tax planning aspect of real estate much more challenging. That it's like I really got to plan out when and how I do my properties, or you don't sell things, you immediately turn it to owner finance. Where it's like I still get the cash flow, but I don't get the cash, and then you can sell off chunks of your note. It's going to make it just much more creative, to where the people that are in this day to day, to where it's like we'll have a discussion about this later, but popped in my head like the NFTs.
Yeah.
I listened to a segment Rick Edelman did about NFTs, and he has a very good job of explaining what is really happening in layman's term.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's like, yeah, you can sell off a piece of your home. Like you're an individual, like you say, you're an investor. It's like, I need $100,000 and I got this massive portfolio. So I'm going to sell off $100,000 worth of my equity and get 100 grand from it. And now they get to participate in the cash flow, like much like we tried to do with the Prime Homes model several years ago. So now they're doing it via that way to where it's like, all right, I just literally don't sell anything. I just sell off $950,000 that year and just kind of sell off pieces of it at a time and through those NFTs. So it's going to make things much more creative. And I think that's why it was funny. Like they write these laws, but the private sector is too damn good, too fast, and too smart. And to be like, yeah, I don't have to go through 500 senators to get these things passed. It's like you guys go through all those things. By the time you even put that stuff out, there's new businesses that are popping up, new strategies coming up that are going to create ways to still accomplish the same goal that we had been in the past.
100%. And it's just that's the whole point that we were making during that interview. Is one of the things that I told Brian, I was like, this is the problem. Like people need to get educated.
Yeah.
People need to, so many, especially in real estate investing, we always hear people say, oh, my accountant handles that. My accountant handles that. It's like, all you're saying is that you're lazy as shit and you don't know what the hell's going on with your books. And then if your accountant tells you, hey, you have this massive profit, why don't you go buy a freaking vehicle? You go like a dumbass and buy a vehicle instead of understanding what this does to you and how this affects you.
I just love the way Brian works. Like that's probably like the laziest tax advice you could give somebody to like save money on taxes.
100%.
Like they've been saying like, go buy a vehicle, go buy a vehicle, go buy a vehicle. It's like, so you just used, and it's only to save 40%. It's like you save 40% in tax by going and leveraging a depreciating asset. It's like
that
there's
you're
so
paying.
many other ways that you could do, like a 401k, sell a 401k. You could do IRA. Like if you've already maxed all those things out and you still have this massive profit, it's like okay, now it makes sense. But dollar for dollar for a solo 401k, I think you can contribute like 50 grand a year towards. And now you go buy a brand new vehicle for 80. Like you run that math, like it just doesn't make sense.
And that's why, like, yes, you need to find a savvy tax strategist, but 2, you need to become a savvy tax strategist. I mean, why I like this time of the year is because usually in a lot of podcasts you have people, a lot of podcasts that start interviewing tax strategists and what's coming down the line and all. And I love listening to that because I love understanding what's happening with the tax strategies. What are things that are changing? This law, if they push this through with the 1031s and with the capital gains, okay, they're gonna do that regardless of how you feel, how much your feelings get hurt. It doesn't matter. Now you need to get strategic and say, okay, well, if they're doing this, what is it? How can I prevent this from happening? How can I keep doing business? How can I keep investing by doing this kind of thing? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And taking care of your bottom line, because if you can't make money, you can't stay in business.